What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to ECB Late at Night. Soon going to be a rebrand on that, but welcome to the late night show, the first of the season, because it is night one of the college basketball season. We've got almost a full slate in, but joining me tonight, my teammate you guys should know very well by now, Mr. Trevor Everett. Trev, we have waited months and months on end for this night. And as we sit here live on the YouTube channel, we've got our fill on night one of college basketball, man.
I wish we had our Phil, actually, our actual Phil
here.
There
you go.
Hope to see him soon. But, dude, I mean, the fact that, I thought about watching IUPUI and Spalding at 11 a.m., strongly. If I wasn't driving, I think I would have probably watched most of that game. At one point, I was watching Stephen F. Austin and whoever the heck they were playing. Man, this is the best time of the year. My wife probably hates me right now because I was playing, One Shining Moment and just the CBS March Madness theme over and over again on repeat while we were cooking dinner, and she was just probably sick of it by night one. And she was literally the last thing she heard last season was walking out of the arena in Houston with me as One Shining Moment is playing live in the arena. So I'm just so glad to be back. I'm so happy.
Dude, it's weird because all day you wait on this and you wait on it and you get that anticipation. And of course, IUPUI tips things off at 11 a.m. and no disrespect to them or Spalding, but the real games, in my opinion, started at 4:30. The ones everybody kind of got off work or was waiting on, because those were kind of a big game, right? Georgia, Oregon, we're going to talk all about it, but we've spent so much time getting ready for this season, and the fact that it's here, it's kind of a surreal moment. It's one of those deals where you wait for something for so long, whether it be a Christmas or a birthday or something, and then it finally gets here, and it almost seems surreal. I'm thankful that we can be doing this at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, talking about live college basketball that's already happened and games that are going on currently as we sit here. I know USC and Kansas State have already tipped off. We got some other games towards the end in progress. We'll kind of get to all that tonight. But for those who haven't been with us before on ECB Late at Night, basically it's exactly what it says as we come on here after a bunch of ball games on a given night, and we'll just talk some shit about it. We will talk about it, review it, talk about all the craziness, and we've got some craziness already in night one. Not so much the upsets, but a lot of crazy games, some closer than the others. We do have a mid-major upset in a D1 Power 6 conference school we'll get into, and so much more tonight. Trev was at a live game covering, so we're going to talk all about it tonight. But before we get to anything else tonight, live on the YouTube channel only, if you're watching along with us, leave comments below. We'll get to you as the show progresses. But we got to take care of some housekeeping first. As always, our shows are brought to you in part with House of College Hoops. Head over to our site, house-enterprise.com, for more information, which kind of leads me into joining us coming home from the Butler game. We'll be joined by our fellow House member and Road to the Garden member, Michael DeRosa. He will be joining us live, fresh off the Butler game. And Trev, we made the announcement the other day. Big news for us. We are excited to bring on our new partner to the 2023-2024 ECB season here, our friends over at ShotQualityBets.com. Shot Quality Bets, the best way I can describe it is that it's a data-based model which will help enhance, if you're stat junkies like us, they have models for everything. My favorite thing on there right now is the matchup predictor. You can go put two teams together, any two teams in college basketball Division I. You can select the home team, select the away team, or you can even select the neutral site game. Click the run prediction. It'll give you a prediction based on score, based on their enhanced technological models and AI that'll tell you who they feel is the winner, point spread, and then they'll give you a detailed breakdown of exactly the strengths and weaknesses of every team. It is used a lot for betting in particular. It'll give you the examples of data-driven lines and trends and everything else. We are so happy to bring on Shot Quality Bets this year. And for those new members, if you go sign up using the code ECB, you'll get your first month 10% off. Sign up now at shotqualitybets.com. Use promo code ECB for 10% off your first month. Trev, I know we've kind of started dabbling into it a little bit, but I'm in love with their site. And there's some of it, I feel like I'm a stat nerd. but there's some of it I've even got to learn, but it's really cool technology.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really deep dive and play around with it much, but I've talked to some folks who have been a part of their creator program for a little while last year, and super excited to see. I mean, there was some guys, special shout out to Jim Arrange. They were 60% last year against the spread, and they were a shot quality partner. So I'm super excited to use the technology, and obviously it's going to help us tremendously just talking about games and what the, just some of the difference makers that they're going to provide in the data space.
Yeah, no, and we're super excited to bring on shot quality bets this year. But as we wait on Michael to get here, Trev, I think it's only fair that we get into the games, man. And there's no place I want to start. I joked about it, but I do think in my mind, with everything surrounding, me and Peyton talked about it. We lambasted them. We cut them down, talking about Louisville. The reason we talk about Louisville to open this up is because it is kind of tongue-in-cheek. But it really does, if you're a Louisville Cardinal fan, you're off to a 1-0 start. No matter how you get there, no matter whether you should have covered the spread or what the case is, Louisville basketball, despite all the turmoil, ends tonight 1-0 on the year. They do beat UMBC 94-93 in one of the wildest games. Trev, I know you were covering the Campbell-Navy game, but I am telling you right now, the most wild 20 seconds I've ever seen in college basketball on an opening night, I believe. Could be wrong. I mean, that's covering a lot of ground, but so Louisville trails most of this game, right? Like they trail, they battle back. They were down 13 at one point. They fight their way back. Inside the last 20 seconds, they're down 92-93. They take a shot at the rim, miss the shot. Trey White steals the ball from the UMBC player on the rebound, lobs it up. I forget who it was from Louisville, made the dunk. They go up 94-93. UMBC races down, has a baseline cut. The kid from UMBC was out of bounds. I mean, his foot was clearly out of bounds, and the referee didn't call it, but then calls a foul in Louisville with under 10 seconds to go. Baltimore County goes up to the line for 2 shots at the foul line, a chance to retake the lead. Doinks the first, or I'm sorry, I have my timing off on the scoring, but regardless, they have a chance to actually tie it up. So what it was, they have a chance to tie it up. He makes the first to make it 94-93 is the score we had, and then he misses a second. Baltimore County gets the rebound and then doesn't even get a shot up. Louisville survives. Wild ending in the last 20 seconds there. But like I said, by hook or crook, Louisville wins. They're 1-0. If you're a Cardinal fan, you have to at least feel good about that because it's not a loss, right?
Yeah, and look, honestly, sometimes we talk about too, like this will tie into some of the shot quality stuff. Just funny to think that, Vegas knows all. And for Vegas to have, and I had some friends texting me about this, UMBC was plus 11.5. I mean, that's just the freest money if I've ever heard it in the entire world. And obviously that cashed in because they only obviously lost by 1. But I didn't get a chance to watch this game live. I'm going to go back and watch it tomorrow or whenever the film drops, I guess. But look, the Cardinals have talent, and I know that we've joked about it, and that Peyton's going to appreciate this because I'm normally the one that's kind of on the negative end of things with the Cardinals. But look, they've got some talent. They think the freshmen are going to take some time. I'm not saying they're going to win a bunch of ACC games. That'll obviously be when those guys get some experience under their belt. But Dennis Evans, I know that is going to have a great year from the big spot. They're going to be fine. This is obviously a building year. Obviously, we talked about the Kenny Payne stuff. That's ad nauseum. But I do believe in this freshman core, and I think they can surprise people more than I think just the expectations of. I know the score, but UMBC. They're a tough crowd, as always.
Yeah, and we got to say, I put it up on the YouTube. Hello to our good friend Connor McCabe. Trev, I know you're new to Connor. Connor's been with us, following along with us for years now. So good to see you again, Connor. We will talk about your Jayhawks. They got off to a hot start tonight, as per expected. But on the Louisville game, I mean, you look at some of the stat lines, and they did come out with the win. But Baltimore County outshot them from 3. UMBC goes 11 of 21 from 3, 52%. Louisville, a paltry at best. Paltry's maybe the safe word. They go 2 of 14 from 3 for 14% from 3. Louisville, from the foul line, shot 39 free throws, only hit 24 of them, goes 61.5% from the foul line. You look at the turnover battle. Baltimore County wins the turnover battle. They only had 11 to Louisville's 14. So if you look at the stats, Baltimore County outshoots them from three by a large margin, both in terms of made number of threes and 3-point percentage. Louisville misses 15 free throws. Louisville did get to the foul line more, but they did miss 15 of them. And UMBC took care of the ball better, had 3 fewer turnovers. But Louisville found a way to win. Dion Brown had an incredible game for UMBC, 28 points on 11 of 20 field goal shooting. My dude was just out there jacking them. But, I mean, I guess if you know what, 11 of 20, you might as well take another 10 of them with that shooting percentage. And then Mike James had a really good game for Louisville. Goes for a double-double night one, 25 points, 10 rebounds. Here's the thing I still find with Louisville, watching the game in real life, Trev, is we talked from the exhibition is what do you get out of Louisville? You watch them. What is their style of play? What are they trying to initiate? What is their game plan? Tonight, to their credit, they were more aggressive, but it wasn't always a good aggressive. Their game plan in the first half particularly looked like it, whoever had the ball, whether it be Sky Clark or even a JJ Trainer as a kind of a forward wing out there, whoever had the ball, Mike James, whoever, it was kind of no ball reversal. Whoever's got the ball, try to make something happen going to the rim. There was not a whole lot of offensive continuity. Then they started going to like a dribble handoff, almost a weave type of offense, but it was still not good quality offense where you're screening and trying to get somebody open. They win. That's the most important thing for Louisville right now. They're 1-0, but they've still got to figure out an identity.
Yeah, I'll kind of throw this at you since I didn't get a chance to see it. I don't have much to add, but I'll throw out the fact that they're not the only team that's going to be on weird upset watch tonight. Michigan State ranked number 4 in the country. This seems out of the blue, but as we're recording this live, 58-60, Michigan State with 3:30 left in the second half. So JMU not only is a top 25 in football, at least in the House Enterprise poll, but they're also apparently going to put Michigan State up against the wall. I know they had a few guys out tonight, but anytime you're up against your back on night one when you're in Final Four, I mean, I picked them to make the Final Four, so I'm obviously not feeling great about this score so far. But yeah, with less than 4 to go, a 2-point game in East Lansing.
Yeah, and that's crazy. I did get to check a little bit of this game because Kentucky was playing concurrently with them, but James Madison, big man, they match up well with a team like Michigan State. Speaking of Michigan State, let's bring on our good friend, and fellow House member over here, Michael DeRosa, joining us. Let me get this all figured out here with the layout. DeRosa, we were just talking about Louisville's quote-unquote big win, and we were talking about Michigan State as we're recording right now being in trouble to James Madison. Any thoughts on that?
That JMU team is good. I think we can start there. Like, they're not a pushover. Like, you look down the roster, and like last year they had they had like 8 guys who could score in double figures on any given night. Today, they lose to Cal Molson. You lose a couple other pieces, but like they still got guys who can score double figures. That team's just getting better. So you look at that, it doesn't stun me a ton. And maybe it takes Michigan State a little longer. Maybe Michigan State isn't the second best team in the country like I had them, but I'm not going to overreact to it. And Louisville is so bad. They're not good. And yeah, it was a really sad. I was game casting the game while I'm at the game. I'm trying to see how my UMBC plus like 290 tickets going. And it's just like they have the offensive rebound on a missed free throw, and then just nothing happens. It's like,
should have taken the spread. 11.5 was the free.
Oh, I did have 11.5. I did have that.
Perfect.
I got that. Yeah, perfect. I got that early. Yeah, if you give Kenny Payne double-digit favorite, you done got me fucked up, dude. Come on now. Look,
by the way, you're not the only one. I was telling Josh, like, I got multiple texts, like at more than 1 or 2 texts that were like, "Hey, you're not going to believe what I bet today." And I go, "Can I guess that it's 11.5?" Like by UMBC, they're like, "Yeah, you got it." I'm like, "Yeah, I cover the sport," but it was just I couldn't believe like. And then somebody texted me, they're like, I told him I was like, just take the money line because what they're going to keep it close. Yeah. What does it hurt to throw like half a unit, right? Yep. And he texted me. One of the guys texted me in the middle of the game I'm at tonight, and he's like, "You know what I forgot to do?" And I'm like, "You're an idiot." Clearly he was. Clearly I was the idiot because obviously Louisville pulled it out. But
I'm okay with that. At plus 290. That's value.
It's fair.
Well, right before you got on, we were talking about the Louisville game, and that final 20 seconds. For anybody who didn't see it, you've got to go back and watch it with the steal lob and then all that. We have already covered it, but I was just telling Trevor, it's amazing Louisville still found a way to win that game, because you look at the primary stats. Baltimore County outshoots them from three, 11 of 21, 52% to Louisville's 2 of 14 for 14%. Louisville missed 15 free throws. UMBC takes care of the ball better with only 11 turnovers to 14 from Louisville. So the stats favored Baltimore County in this game, and Louisville found a way to win. And we've all taken our shots at Louisville. But I think tonight, as I've said, the most important thing for them is that you go to bed 1-0. No matter how you get it done, you're 1-0. Take a little bit of the stress off. But that's probably one of their worst teams they're going to play all year. So they're going to have to get better quick if they try to even think about beating last year's 4-win total. Michigan State, I don't have it pulled up on mine. I've got a couple other things pulled up right now. Any live update on the Michigan State game?
I see them up 3 with 2:32 left.
Yep. That's what I have as well.
So this is a perfect transition, because if Michigan State does not pull this out, let's say JMU comes back, what a weird night for the Big Ten. Because let's go to New Jersey in the battle of the Jersey State with Princeton. And I don't even think it's that much of an upset, because Trevor, we talked about it on last Thursday's episode about this being a potential upset. Princeton is not a bad team, and they go and handle Rutgers 68-61. You look at the stat lines here. Princeton shot 43% from the field to Rutgers 40.3%. They outshoot them from three by a mile, go 9 of 20 for 45%. Rutgers goes 4 of 14, only shoots 28.6%. They shoot, well, Rutgers didn't miss a free throw. They out-rebound them by 4, 39-35. And then they did have 3 more turnovers. But it's like an upset namesake, because it's a mid-major, an Ivy League school beating a Big Ten school. But I don't think these two right now are that far off, especially earlier in the year, night number 1.
It was the only upset I picked out of the 9 I've laid out. Iona Charleston was the only other reasonable one on there. It was a 2-point win by Charleston, so I don't feel too bad about that. Obviously, Bellarmine, we've got to see if they can take care of Washington tonight with an 11:30 p.m. Eastern tip. Just want to make sure that was known. No, the Princeton thing, with the loss of Tosin from last year, and I'm probably saying his name wrong anyway, but I'm not even going to try it. I knew that was the kind of defensive versatility that they were going to, need to make up for. I know Rutgers is not exactly the most stout offensive team, so this is not exactly a game that, was a hard pick per se, but anytime you go on the road, especially recently, I think Rutgers is building something, but this is obviously not something that's going to help them out a lot.
Well, DeRosa,
yeah, you go.
No, I was just going to lead into it. I mean, you look at the leaders for Rutgers tonight. Cliff Amorier leads them 12.7 rebounds, but they're missing the guard play they've had the last couple of years. Yep. They're missing a Ron Harper. They're missing a Cam Spencer. They're missing guys, at least in this – Caleb McConnell. They're missing guys at least night 1, right? I mean, obviously guys can get better throughout the year, and you would think they would, but at least night 1, they're missing some of those backcourt guys that led them to NCAA tournaments to help Amorier out. I guess your thoughts on this Rutgers-Princeton game?
I really liked Rutgers in this spot. I was against you, Trevor. You were right. I was wrong. I should have listened to you. But one thing that I was really high on this
Rutgers 1 for
team,
9 for what it's worth. I mean,
yeah. The fact that Derek Simpson only played 18 minutes, I haven't watched any of the game, but it was on when I was at the Butler game. That's scary to me, because I was probably like the captain of the Derek Simpson breakout train. I saw him play like 1 game in the Big Ten tournament, and I went back, and then he played another like really good game. But I saw him play that one. I'm like, all right, this kid's gonna be a star next year. I've seen all I need. He gets to the hole really well, and I just think he's scaled. His jump shot hasn't fallen yet, but I think it's better than the numbers say. But if he only played 18 minutes, shot 1 of 5 from the field, 2 points, something's up. I was so high on Derek Simpson entering the year. If he doesn't perform, that would make me look like a fool. And Noah Fernandes didn't have a great game either. So, I have to decline that. Yeah, I'm worried about this Rutgers team. I really liked him entering the year, but this is not a good performance. But maybe once they get back in the rack, get back to hometown, that's the performance they'll need. Derek Simpson will have 30 points, and I'll feel like I'm smart again.
Well, I mean, this is certainly not a good start, because the Big Ten's going to be a meat grinder again. And you look at Rutgers' upcoming schedule, they've got Boston U on Friday, they've got Bryant, they've got Georgetown, which Howard, St. Peter's. So the rest of their non-con is very manageable before they get into Big Ten play. They open up Big Ten play with Illinois December 2nd because, the Big Ten the last couple of years plays at a couple conference games in December. They do play Wake Forest, Mississippi State.
I'm going to be at that game, by the way. I'll give you some nice I'll be on the Wake's bench side, I think. I don't know. I got a text from the photo today, but yeah, that I'm looking forward to that game.
Nice. That'll be an interesting one. Wake opened up big tonight. Put a 100 spot up. But, I mean, what I'm getting at is their non-con's not that bad. They do have Mississippi State December 23rd, right before Christmas, but I don't think Tolu Smith's going to be back just yet. I think his projection is early January. So they might miss him, but as long as they hold chalk and get better, they should be fine going into Big Ten play. But if they lose a game or two before Big Ten play, with the net rankings being so prevalent and the non-con not being that great, you have a loss to Princeton and whoever else. I mean, say you lose to St. Peter's or Howard or Bryant or somebody that's not the greatest in net rankings, Rutgers could be in a struggle again to try to even claw to make the NCAA tournament. And again, overreactions, and we're going to talk about overreactions, but Rutgers needed that game tonight. They needed to start on the right foot. But on the flip side, Princeton, man, I'm going to butcher his name, but Matt Alacoa?
I think it's a loco.
A loco. Okay. Well, that sounds a lot better. He went for 21-9 tonight. Played 39 minutes. So it'd be interesting to see if Princeton can win the Ivy League this year and get back to the NCAA tournament. But I do want to talk before we move on to any other games, because what I'm going to lead into will go with this. It's night one, and everybody's going to have their overreactions to college basketball. So I want to talk to you guys about that. What are your thoughts about overreactions, not even just on night one, but the first week or two of college basketball, making these drastic claims? Because I've seen it real bad during the Georgia-Oregon game we're about to talk about. Your guys' thoughts on overreactions after one night, in some cases, one half of the first game of college basketball?
As a podcaster of 3 years, they're my favorite thing to do. I do it every year in the NBA, week one overreactions. It's my favorite thing to know. Look, they have their purpose. I think the NBA has a more valuable place for them because it's an 82 game sample size versus we're getting 10 non-con games or 8, whatever the number of non-con games is now for college basketball before the postseason play conference play starts. So I think we can learn a lot about teams, though. I really do, because people want to crap on the slate tonight, and I'm going to still stay in the minority of this was a good slate for night one. And you look at some of these teams, like, again, James Madison. I know that this is not Michigan State's, best outing or whatever, but I'm not going to overreact to it necessarily. But we're going to learn a lot from this game, like Michael laid out. James Madison is a really good team, has some really great scores, and it's 64-68 for what it's worth with a minute left in the second half. Obviously you have to take, everything you see with a grain of salt. Morgan State being down by, 44 to Arizona right now. I'm not going to be like, well, now Arizona should be ranked in the top 10 because
national
of that,
title,
obviously.
Arizona, book it.
National title. Is that an overreaction? That's what I'm trying to get to.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe.
I like it though. But my point is you can learn a lot from some of these games, right? You have to know. That was a joke. Good to know. I'm glad, I really didn't know. We've never done it a pod, so thank you for clarifying that. But Purdue obviously put the smacking on Samford, who was a really, really good team last year, right? I'm not going to overreact to the fact that Purdue, being the number 3 team in the country, beat down on a team, even though that Samford is a really good coach team with Bucky McMillan. I'm just giving you some examples as I scroll, right? I'm not going to look at some of these teams and be like, well, this is why I should feel one way or the other for them. But in terms of how I feel about overreactions, I love overreactions. It's the best thing in college basketball because you only have a 30-game sample size, and you do have to learn something from some of these games, right? Like I used the Navy-Campbell game I was at tonight, right? Like Campbell's athletic. Just a perfect example, right? They're super athletic. I knew they were athletic, but for them to go out there and show it and be like, this is the team they're going to have to be in CAA play, which, by the way, is in a month, right? So that's still really quick turnaround there, right? That's why I bring up the games example. But just something like that as an example, right? You have to take what you see and consume it, knowing that you don't have a large sample size to deal with.
Yeah, I
mean,
think I'm with you there. You can overreact to games, and like that happens. We've all done it before, but at the same time, we can also learn some things. Like once we watched UConn play 2 weeks last season, we were like, okay, this team is better than the non-ranked team they were, and they were. Even with the slump, they were. But at the same time, we will overreact and find a team like Illinois isn't a national title contender like we probably thought they were 2 weeks into the season. So it's a give and take.
Well, and I get it. And what we're going to lead to, and I want to talk about the Georgia-Oregon game, but we do have the YouTube chats coming in, so I do want to answer these before we move on. Connor, our buddy Connor here, is asking all of us, and I know the answer, but I do want to let you guys answer this. Do net rankings really matter when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, when it comes to being in or out of the tournament? The answer is yes. Like, they've put that in place as like it's basically replaced the RPI from years ago, from a handful of years ago, which the RPI took into fact of strength of schedule, who you played, where you played it, all that stuff. The net basically replaced that, which is supposed to be a better model, which I don't know how Kansas sets the record last year for most quad one wins and then doesn't get the overall number 1 seed, but we've already discussed that. But yes, Connor, net rankings do matter, and you want to try to be as high or low. I've never figured out how to say that. High, low? Is it like golf, low? But whatever. You want to be in the better position. Like if you can be in the top 10 or top 30, you want to be that as opposed to being a 20-win team but have a net ranking of 82.
You pop up his question one more time to make sure I understand it before I say this point. I use this point all the time. Do the net really matter when it comes to nitty gritty? Yes, and I'm just going to quickly agree with Josh because like you used Clemson last year as the perfect example, right? Super talented team, third best team in the ACC. They're my prima donna answer for this question because they should have been in the NCAA tournament. I know the net is that barometer of where you see those wins and how to rank them and how to understand them better, but Clemson was a tournament team last year and very well should have been. I know they didn't finish the year strongly, but I got a chance to see that team play. They were a tournament team. The net has to be a barometer for how we value a team, but it should not be the Bible.
Completely agree.
Yes, I don't at all.
Completely. No, and I don't know why, like, I keep the YouTube comments coming, guys. We appreciate the hell of them, but I don't know why when I pull them up, it moves our overlays. I must figure that out.
It's 68-68 Michigan State, by the way.
Oh.
It was a 4-point game with a minute left, and it's now tied. So I'm keeping an eye on it right now.
Yeah,
Tyson Walker just missed a jumper. Overtime in East Lansing.
Wow.
Overtime in East Lansing. Oh my God!
I'm gonna have to log into my Fox account.
Chat.
Wait. Yeah. Okay. It just ESPN's tripping out. It's like showing me the end of the second half, but then it's showing me that there's 14 seconds left. But I get it.
Those who are in chat, put your predictions for overtime in the chat. Wow. Speaking of, obviously Peyton's in here watching us. He didn't feel like being on here with us tonight, but he says net rankings are a joke. Yes, we know. But anyways, I want to move on. I was going to plan for the overreactions, but let's move on to the Georgia-Oregon game. This was kind of the game I was excited about. I know IUPUI tipped things off this afternoon, but no offense. Nobody really gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit. The Georgia-Oregon game, I felt very invested in. And I think what we saw was a couple of things. For one, the pitiful crowd. I think there's more people in our network, the house network. You combine all of us, we would have probably outdrew the people that were in Vegas for that game today. I mean, it was pretty embarrassing. I thought it was going to be a pretty good game. And you could definitely tell it was night one because there was a lot of nerves, a lot of missed shots early. Oregon comes out with the win, 82-71. I did not expect that. I predicted Georgia would win. But you got to give credit to Oregon. They out-rebounded Georgia 63-41, 21 offensive rebounds, and Fale Dante, 16 points, 21 rebounds. And the guy who really surprised me today, who I'm going to keep a keen eye on the rest of the year, Brennan Rigsby from Oregon, 16 points, goes 6 of 9 from the floor, 2 of 3 from three-point line, and a massive tomahawk, just shitting all over Georgia, whoever tried to jump on him there. Or jump with him. And Brennan Rigsby is one of those kids. I sent it in our group chat, Trevor, and I told Peyton, and I know he would understand it. The way he was playing this afternoon reminds me of baby Peyton Pritchard from Oregon, the Oregon legend a couple years ago. Brennan Rigsby really showed up and showed out on a fairly big stage this afternoon all to themselves. your guys' thoughts on this whole game. Brendan Rigsby and Fale Dante going nuts on the rebounds. Anything you want to talk about before we get into the nitty-gritty of the stats?
Michael, how much of this game did you watch? Because I watched the entire thing, and I literally have one takeaway. I think Michael might have froze, so I'm going to just say this. Georgia's not winning any game in any competitive way if Noah Tomlinson has 6 points. It's that simple, right? If he's not going to be, as Niagara's best player last year, leading scorer, and he was second in rebounding, top couple in assists, right? They're not going to win meaningful basketball games, especially later on in the year, if he has 6 points. I understand the 1 for 4 from 3, 2 for 9 from the field, right? You mentioned nerves. It doesn't just apply to freshmen like our guy Silas Demery. I get it, right? Like, it doesn't always apply to freshmen in this case. And Thomason, and you mentioned the 130 thing. I'll quickly, or the 430 tip thing. 130, even in Vegas of all things, Vegas is about to have an F1 race in like less than a month. So honestly, I wasn't surprised by the 1:30 p.m. crowd, because honestly, look at the crowd now for Kansas State USC. That's a true barometer of what people, Vegas is a nighttime town, right? Everybody who was out partying and gambling the night before, who didn't care about college basketball, wasn't going to be in that arena. Now, am I saying that there, are bigger crowds at my grocery store on Saturdays? Of course. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you there, but it was just, yeah. So on a basketball point, Silas did look really, really good. We saw some playmaking flashes from him. Super, super fast. Really, really easy to adjust to the college game there. Oregon, I think I'll give you an overreaction. I know I think we're going to do this as a pod next week, but I'll just throw it out here now. I'll give you an overreaction since you brought it up as the topic for this game. I think we underestimated Oregon. I think we underestimated how deep they were despite the injuries. And honestly,
real quick, look at this. Peyton put it up in the chat about a minute ago. He says, I underestimated Oregon's inside presence, not only from an offensive standpoint, a disruptive standpoint. Dante played very well. Yeah, I completely agree. I had the same thought watching this today.
Very well might be an understatement, and I'll give Michael the floor here with this, but 21 and 16 is let me say it backwards. 16 points, 21 rebounds is nuts, and to not have a single block as well. They controlled the glass. Him and Biddle were unbelievable on the boards, and it just Oregon's. I think we underestimated Oregon was my big takeaway.
I had Oregon third in the Pac-12 actually when we did our Pac-12 show. So I was really high on this team. The two bigs does worry me a little bit. Like we've seen Dan Altman run it, and it just hasn't worked over the last couple of years. Hopefully this is the year, because I thought Biddle played really well. He was hitting jump shots. He was really setting guys up from outside. And in Fale Dante, you mentioned it, he had 16 and 21. This team is good. They need to get more to their guards. I don't think Bartholomew Zarzula, Cousinard was all right. And then Rigsby was really good, but Oquendo and Tracy, none of those guys played like great. I expect a little more out of Bartholomew, a little more out of Zarzula. And you guys mentioned it with Georgia. You are not winning games if you're not getting anything from Noah Tomlinson. He did not play well. Hill didn't play very well either. I thought Blue Kane looked pretty good, to his credit. I liked him in high school. Blue Kane's a bucket. But I don't know. Georgia's a team you guys are higher on than I was. I remember Josh was on our SEC show, and he was like, whoa, you have Georgia way too low. I don't remember we had him, but I remember he just immediately jumped out and was like, you guys are idiots. So made me look into them a little more.
Well, I didn't quite say it like that, Paisan. Come on now. I didn't quite say it like that. But here's the thing. This is what I bring about overreactions. So after 10 minutes of the first half of the first game of the season, hopped on our Twitter machine, and you've seen people who talk basketball, report on it, whatever, immediately after 10 minutes writing Georgia off, saying that they suck, that Mike White can't coach offense, that they don't have any shooters. And I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes. Even if they lost this game, which they did, it's one game. And there was stuff in there even in defeat that I liked from Georgia. You think about it. They go 10 of 30 from the three-point line. Had even a couple more of those fallen down that did hit the front side of the rim or rolled around it, it's a completely different ball game, and they did not play well. They went 17 of 30 from the foul line. They turned the ball over too much, and they still had a chance there late before it got away from them there the last, whatever it was, 45 seconds. The things I liked from Georgia in this ball game is once these guards get up and running, and guys like Jabir Abdul-Rahim, they didn't even have RJ Sunahara, which is a big-time bucket getter coming over from Nova Southeastern. Once Silas started to settle down and really turn the speed on, he can defend his ass off. He can change a pace point guard. He showed a little bit he could score, but once these guys settle down and that backcourt really gets the flowing, you run that 5-out offense and you get those guys. Blue Kane, what he end up with today? He ended up with 12 points. Abdur Rahim 18, Silas 8 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals. So you start getting this backcourt settled down. I loved when they pressed Oregon. When they pressed them and started turning Oregon over, I think if Mike White opens the offense up as the games progress and starts playing more of a faster tempo, I still think Georgia is going to be the sleeper in the SEC this year because there are going to be nights where they shoot incredible from 3. There's going to be nights where they just absolutely torch teams and go 15 of 31 and just blow teams out of the water with their 3-point shooting, their fast-paced guards, and their athletic guards. But I'm still fine with Georgia. I just think it was more impressive from Oregon today. But I'm still pump the brakes on the people thinking Georgia is all of a sudden, well, they're not very good, because I think you're going to be surprised by the time we get to SEC play.
I'll be negative Nancy for a second. You mentioned there's going to be nights where they'll have better shooting. There's also going to be nights where they shoot the same 3-point percentage as they do field goal percentage. That was today. And there's a lot better defenses than Oregon. Not that Oregon isn't a good defense, but there's a lot better defenses in the SEC that will be ranked obviously ahead of Georgia. And obviously I have my questions, and I don't mean them in any, I didn't spend as much time on the SEC as you and others have, but they've got experience, and that's what they've got to take advantage of. And you mentioned a lot of those guys, specifically the guy coming over from Nova Southeastern. Those guys were unbelievable last year, 36-0, won the national championship in Division II. So he was a big part of that. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it is an overreaction. It's they're 0-1, right? You wake up tomorrow and you get ready to play another game. So.
And they go. Sorry, real quick, Michael. They go Friday to a very tough Wake Forest team. We'll preview on Thursday, and that's going to be an incredible game. But if they bounce back and go beat Wake on the road, now where's everybody?
That game's in Georgia.
Sucks.
That game's in Georgia because I wanted to go to it so bad, and then I realized it was in Georgia too late.
Okay, well, regardless, it's still going to be a very good Wake Forest team. Yes. So if they bounce back with a win there, they're 1-1, and you lose to a good Oregon team, you beat a good Wake Forest team.
We talked about it. They have one of the toughest, probably a top 10 toughest non-con in the entire country, without a doubt. Like we went through it. Their non-con is ridiculous, and not talking about the overreaction thing. They're going to be able to prove it, and my overreaction will be a lot different if after the Wake game and after the next few. I think they have a small MTE in a few weeks as well, I believe. I hope they have a small NT, I believe, and if they can survive that non-con, like we mentioned, if they come out of it even bruised and battered at 500, that will prepare them better for SEC play than most teams in the SEC will have been prepared for.
Yeah, you guys mentioned it. I was going to say it before you guys both took my point, so good on you.
We talked about them literally the other day, so yeah, sorry.
Their non-con is tough. Like you play Wake, you play Miami, you play Florida State very quickly. And you mentioned if they have an MTE, that's another tough game. So I guess if I'm going to overreact to Georgia in any way in this game, they started pretty slow and they never really found a complete flow state rhythm except for one good run, I believe, in the first half. So if I'm going to overreact, it's, are they ready to beat Wake yet? Are they ready to beat Miami in 2 weeks? And
that's it. If
they lose those games, what happens there? But other than that, it's no. Yeah, just the schedule.
You had the Miami game right. It was we both were right. It's the Bahamas. It's that Bahamar Hoops Bahamas thing. They renamed it a couple times, but it's still the Bahamas tournament. They would play the winner of Kansas State Providence as well, which is nuts. So that, I'm talking about the bloodbath that it is. You mentioned Wake already, Josh. That game's at home at least. Winthrop put up a good fight against Campbell. I talked about that game last time we talked about Georgia. Florida State, Mercer lost tonight against Division II opponent, I believe.
Yeah, they lost to Division II, yeah.
And then that Mount St. Mary's game on December 20th is going to be tough. I'll give you the Michigan State update really fast. It is 73-72 with 138 left in overtime. JMU.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I tried to pull the stream for that game, and that's when my stream crashed for a bit.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Well, I tell you what's not good, and we'll move on from the Georgia-Oregon game. The free throw shooting was absolutely booty cheeks because Oregon goes 14 of 29 for 48.3%, and Georgia 17 of 30 for 56.7%. It was brutal watching these guys trying to make a free throw in Vegas this afternoon. Just brutal. But, good win for Oregon. I think, like we all agree, Peyton included, that Oregon's maybe a little better than we thought. And they didn't even have Mookie Cook, right? Isn't that his name, Mookie Cook?
Yeah, Mookie Cook.
Mookie Cook, yeah. They didn't even have him. So they're going to get help on the way at some point. And Georgia, I caution everybody to pump the brakes a little bit. I think they're going to be all right. A couple other ones. We already talked about the Princeton one. Waiting on the Michigan State. Let's talk about the number one team in the country in the ECB poll here. Not much to it. They blow out North Carolina Central, Kansas, that is. They blow out North Carolina Central 99-56. They have 5 guys in double figures tonight. KJ Adams with 12 points, Hunter Dickinson 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists for the big man tonight. Kevin McCullough led them in scoring with 22, Braun 10, and Nicholas Timberlake 13. I mean, I don't think anybody's expected an upset there, but balanced scoring, I think that's going to be Kansas' thing, is finding depth. Their starting 5, top 6 are going to be really good. But I think once you start getting from 7 on to 8, 9, 10 potentially is where they're going to have some issues if they get in foul trouble. I know you guys both of you were at games tonight, but I guess thoughts on this Kansas game, anything we potentially learned from them tonight?
3-point shooting is a focus, and they knew that coming into it. They knew they wanted to get it going, and they specifically took 23 threes, and that was going to be a big question mark for me. And I think we had mentioned it before, obviously, in some of the preseason. That game against Illinois, that was just something that was just going to be their downfall if they hadn't figured it out. And obviously, it's game 1, right? So let's just taper our expectation there. But to shoot 56.5% from 3 on 23 attempts, that's at least something to get their momentum began from that regard, because that's going to be a really big Achilles heel for them.
DeRosa, how about this? They have 39 made field goals, 34 assisted baskets.
I mean, Dwan Harris is the best floor general in college basketball. I think he's just the best leader. And I love Tyler Kolek. I cover Tyler Kolek, but I think Dwan Harris he's special
like that.
He's just he's probably not the best, he's the best setup man. Maybe he's not the best passer. He's not the best dribbler or any of that, but he's just the best setup man. He's
10 assists tonight.
Yeah.
10 assists. Yeah. He didn't score a bucket. He did not have 1 point.
He shoot one.
Yeah. 25 minutes, 4 rebounds, 10 assists, 0 points. That is incredible, especially in a blowout win. Guys want to try to get some numbers, right? He just said, fuck it. I'm just going to start dropping dimes. I think that's huge maturity right there. Huge.
One thing I'm worried about with this Kansas team, I had them 4th when we did our top 25. So I think I'm the lowest of anyone on them. The depth does concern me. And if they're starting to Marco Jackson, sure. Okay, he's a good player. But Nick Timberlake, Johnny Furphy, where are you getting guys other than that? That concerns me a little bit, particularly if one of Dickinson or Adams goes down. I have strong concerns with this team. But that's what I said about.
Well, that's what I say about the depth. I do worry because Adams and Dickinson are going to be as good a 1-2 punch in the front court as you'll find in America this year, and they're different type players. But if something goes like foul trouble or, God forbid, injuries or suspensions or whatever, I do worry about the front court depth. They will have to go small, which Bill Self's amazing at adapting to situations, but I don't know if this is the right team where he could play the type he wants to play with a small ball team. Now, Bill's great at what he does, but I just, for their sake, pray that you don't lose your big men, because it could be a completely different ball game if your bigs go out. Let's talk about the games you guys were at tonight before we start to wrap things up and go to a couple other games around the country in the top 25. We'll start with you, DeRosa. Butler opened up the season tonight. Posh Alexander debut with the Bulldogs officially tonight. How did everything go over there in Hinkle Fieldhouse, and your thoughts on them?
Started a little slow, a little sloppy. In the first half, Butler had 9 turnovers, and they did lose the offensive rebounding battle to EMU, who is not the biggest team in the country. So there are definitely worries there. But Butler put up 60 points in the second half.
I knew this was coming. I saw the tweet. 60. I knew it was coming.
Come on. Butler scored 60 points in most games last year. They'd be lucky to hit that. It's like, oh, shit. Oh, my God. We had an offensive firepower. 60 points? Whoa, okay. We're on fire today. Man, 60 points and a half. Guys like Pierre Brooks and Jamil Telford, Pierre Brooks in particular, his offensive bag was on full display today. That dude can score. He looked like that top 70 recruit coming out of high school. He can score in so many ways. Cheeky little floater. He's physical inside, can get a bucket, and his Jimmy is smooth. Jamil Telford is just smooth. Like
Hey, that's
so,
my guy.
He hit this cheeky little like left-hand floater, call him Mike Conley. Like that was smooth. So those are the two things
We
that I
got
really
a
noticed.
visitor here.
Ooh.
Michael, I have
We got
a
a
question
visitor,
for you.
Peyton, joining us.
Since you spend so much time with Butler, and I want to make this very clear to you that, and this is our first time doing a podcast together, so this is completely on the fly. But I picked last year, unbeknownst to how I knew it was going to turn out. I picked Butler as a sleeper in the Big East. Obviously, it didn't put any change to that and say like there's a reason this or that, right? But how early am I? By the way, the reason Peyton is making that face, JMU was up 78-74 with 9 seconds left.
9 seconds left.
Yeah.
Wow.
6 seconds left. They just made a 3 to take the lead, 78-74. Timeout, Michigan State. So what am I to? So with Butler, this year is obviously, you mentioned some question marks tonight. Obviously, it's game 1 again. But, how early is too early for Thad Matta to turn it around?
I want to see some progress this year. Maybe we're not expecting them to shake up the world and like go to the tournament or even win a game there. Like we're not really expecting like a ton, but I want to see something out of the young guys. I want to see them develop. Guys like Finley. I think Finley's a stud. He's got a smooth jumper and the kid is fearless. He's not afraid of anything. Landon Moore is a big point guard. He looked good in his first year at St. Francis, PA. Transfers over. He's got 3 years left. I want to see some progress, but if they play again this year, which I don't think this is going to happen, but I'm going to say it anyway, and they start losing a lot of games by 20 plus, I think you might just have to overhaul the damn thing. Just like everything, athletic department, everything. If you really want a successful basketball program and want to survive in the Big East, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I think this team, I just need to see progress. Just progress. Give me some progress. Look good. Stay competitive in games. And we're good there. And we'll shoot forward to the moon.
I do have a question for you. You and I talked off air a little bit in the last couple of weeks about Butler. And Jalen Thomas, obviously, him being on the floor is massive for this team. But you got a 7-footer in from Bucknell, Andre Screen. It doesn't show his minutes here when I'm looking it up, but he did have 13 points, 5 rebounds tonight. How is he, or how do you feel like he is adjusting to playing for Butler, coming in off of a bench role there? Or did he start tonight?
He came off the bench. It's really early to tell because he hasn't gone up against someone his size yet. He's literally like, he was 6-6 today with, I think, probably 6 dunks, maybe 5 dunks and a layup. Just everything around the rim. It was easy to him. I need to see him get up against someone his size. I need to see him like have to defend someone in space. He really hasn't been tested there yet. So there's still more to grow with him, but I think he's looked solid so far. He's done everything you could ask him to at this point. Just need to see a little more. Need to see him against good comp, and they'll get tested against Michigan State, who might actually lose this game pretty soon. So,
right now, actually, I think it literally. Hold on, Peyton probably watching it. I'm still refreshing the feed. No, they're still in the timeout. I have a question just to think about. You mentioned Butler, and we talked a little bit about them. I know what they lost is going to obviously be really important to how this season shapes up. But Jaden Taylor, I'm an NC State fan, if you didn't know. Give me 30-second elevator pitch on what Jaden Taylor provides. I know I saw some games last year. Obviously, led the team in scoring, led the team in steals. Give me an elevator pitch on what. Obviously, the NC State's going to be really deep at guard once again. But just give me 30-second elevator pitch on why I should be excited for Jaden Taylor, and I think I'm going to see him hopefully play this week.
Kid is a hard worker. He was the one guy in the gym every day. He was there all the time. He actually burned a couple bridges because he wanted to get in the gym when he was in the portal, and guys were like, dude, it's final exams, man. I hate to break it to you. I got other shit I have to do. But the kid's going to work his ass off. I can guarantee you that much. He's a good ISO scorer. You need to get him. I think an organized system would really help him. I don't know if NC State's going to have that. But you need to rein him in on taking some deep twos. But the kid is talented. He has progressed through his 2 years of college. He looked really good as a freshman. He was an under-recruited freshman, and it's clearly shown up. Kid's going to work his ass off. He's talented. Hopefully they don't have to run him at the 3. I think that hurt his game a little bit. If you can get him in a more organized system, I think that'll make him really good. But he is working his ass off. I can guarantee you that. The kid is a hard worker.
Let's start. Trev, actually, before we move on to the rapid fire around the country here tonight, to close this thing out, you did go to Campbell, seen the Campbell Navy game. I know it was under the radar on the national scene, but what did you see out of Campbell tonight, and how did you enjoy that game?
That might be an understatement. So just really quick, just more of an overall thought on the CAA as a whole, because honestly, I being so close my commute to Campbell is less than a mile. So to say that I'm close to the team and around the team, I have to take the bias out of it, right? But I think I was higher on them than most just because of what they were going to bring to the CAA. A Princeton-style offense is obviously something that the conference is not used to seeing. And then I saw Hofstra and Tyler Thomas do what they did to their opponent today. So I'm immediately nervous about anybody's chances in the CAA this year. But no, I mentioned earlier, Campbell's athletic. I think they're going to be a team that a lot of people are going to be surprised by. They were obviously a name that those that cover college basketball are familiar with for historical reasons, but also for last year. They made a run in the Big South. Almost beat UNC Asheville really close at the end of that game in the Big South tournament. They're now obviously in a new conference where I think their expectations, I picked them to finish 9th, which was definitely in the minority there. My face is turning red because our CAA preview page is as bright as can possibly be. But they're going to have a really, really tough. They're going to be the team that kind of ends that tier of good teams in the CAA. Charleston, UNC Wilmington, Hofstra, Drexel, Towson, Delaware, Northeastern, Stony Brook, and then themselves is where I had them picked. After that, William and Mary is going to be the only team I think really gives them any kind of fight. After that, it's just, Elon, and Elon lost by 40-something to Wake tonight. But Navy, I don't have any expectations for Navy. Just as a quick, I enjoyed it. It was college basketball. I was there opening night to be done. Shout out to JMU for upsetting Michigan State, as Peyton just said, ball game there.
Wow.
But yeah, not enough on Campbell. But Navy fights their tail off, and their defense, they almost came back against Campbell at the end, and the Campbells were only projected to win by 3.5. So just to think that like Navy put up that kind of defensive fight at the end, the Patriot League's going to be tough once again, and Navy's going to be no different in that. I think they're going to obviously struggle, but Navy's going to be at least a tough team to play in the Patriot League. So that was all I had. I'm just glad to be back in the building. So.
Didn't JMU almost beat like UNC last year at 1.2?
Yes.
Like, these guys, these guys can go, man. They're talented. That's a good program there. Good for them.
Shout out the former president, James Madison. How about that? Incredible win. Izzo, you know how Izzo is. He'll rally his team. And I swear, I feel like this is Tom Izzo 101, where he'll come into every 3 or 4 years, he'll have a team that's ranked in the top 4 preseason. They'll drop a game that they shouldn't. And they'll struggle a little bit here and there, and then he'll start to slowly figure it out. And then by March, they'll be a 4 or 5 seed or higher, and they'll make it to the Final Four. That's just his blueprint for the last 25 years. That's just what happens. So I think with this loss, you can go ahead and mark Michigan State into the Final Four because we all know what the hell is going to happen now.
Or we could overreact and say that they're going to end up being like North Carolina and miss the tournament. Just an overreaction to think about.
Should I be excited or terrified that Butler goes into Breslin, and I believe it's a week from Friday after this result? Should I be more excited, like, oh, they can win that game and they'll beat a top 5 preseason team, or should I be like, oh, shit, that's Izzo?
Well, here's what's probably going to happen. Next Tuesday night, they play Duke in the Champions Classic. And by all accounts, Duke's probably going to beat them. And then you got to play them after that. So you tell me, should you be excited?
I would lean no. I do not want to play him after. No. I think Duke beats him pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. I really like that Duke team. Yeah.
You're fucked. I'll tell you what, though. Just to interrupt here, Tyson Walker had 35 points.
Wow.
They still lost the game. Nobody else from Michigan State did shit for them. 1 of 20 from the 3-point line from Michigan State.
Wow.
Maybe Cisco fouled out with 5 fouls. Hogan had 5 or 4 fouls. They were in too much foul trouble. Dude, Tyson Walker's a baller, but my God, give this dude some help, please, and thank you.
I think that's our fear, right? Because they have a bunch of young dudes. Xavier Booker.
He only played 5 minutes.
I always forget the other freshman's name. Cohen Carr. I mean, these guys have got to take time to develop and get used to the college system. Like, we get so spoiled with these top-tier freshmen coming in and from night one just balling out, but it takes time. And then AJ Hoggard is who we thought he is. He's going to have nights where he goes on streaks for 2 or 3 games in a row where he puts up 25. Then he's going to fade away. He's so inconsistent. If Tyson Walker doesn't get off, Michigan State's going to be in trouble a lot of nights with the Big Ten. They're going to struggle. It's just the way it is.
Is 5% from 3? Is that the right number, Peyton? Am I blind?
They shot 23s, hit 1 of them.
Wow.
Jeez.
That no wonder they lost. Like,
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you think they're missing Joey Hauser right now?
They're
Maybe a
missing
little bit.
Joey and Sam and any other Hauser in the family at this point. I mean, good lord. I mean, they'll take it. Susie Hauser at this point. I mean, good grief. 1 for 20 is awful.
Well, Michigan State becomes our biggest
God.
news of the first night. I feel like we always have this on the first night or two of college basketball. Somebody goes down.
Another word about the slate sucking. Every one of you can suck me. Anyway, I'm so mad.
Whoa,
Well-
let's pause.
Sorry.
Pause.
God,
the fuck?
it makes me so
Time
mad.
out.
It makes me so
Time-
mad when people say that. It's
Either
just-
timeout or a technical. What the fuck?
Sorry, pause.
Let's start landing this thing. Let's start hitting some top 25 matchups. Michigan State obviously just went down. We hit Kansas. Let's go to the reigning champs. They start with a blowout. They beat Northern Arizona 95-52. Alex Caravan 22 points. Donovan Clingan 12. Tristan Newton 14. The freshman phenom Stephon Castle 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Yeah, I mean, it is what we expected, right? I don't think we'd expect anything else. They played elite defense, held a team to under 55 points, almost scoring 100 themselves, and had balanced scoring. They had 5 guys in double figures. And here's my thing, and I said this in the Big East preview, and I'm sticking to it now. Clingan had a good night. He played 15 minutes, 12 points, 8 rebounds. But there is something to be said that it was easy to do what he did in a way last year at being the number 2 guy when you came in and a lot of bigs are tired because they had to deal with Adama Sanogo. But now he's the number 1 guy. So when he gets starting to play, when they play Indiana coming up, or when they start playing some of the Kansas with Hunter Dickinson, and they get into Big East play and they have many bigs that can rotate that are physical, how does Clingan handle being the number 1 guy having to play 30 minutes a night or more without being in foul trouble, trying to score, trying to rebound, and trying to block shots? That's why when people kept putting him on the preseason All-American list and putting him in the top 5 players in the country, that's another one. I said, pump the brakes, because it's different when you go from being the number 2 guy to have to being the guy. And I want to see him do it night in, night out before I claim that he's going to be this All-American talent.
Counterpoint. I bet him 100-1 to win National Player of the Year, and it closed like 25-1. So, in my humble opinion, unbiased, he is the best player in college basketball. No one is even near him. He is
non-betting reasons, right? Yeah, I mean,
and no, unbiased. I have no,
of course,
unbiased. You know me. I'm an unbiased guy. He's the best player in college basketball. Anyone else saying anything otherwise is lying to you. The media is trying to hide it from you that he's actually the best player in college basketball. Cash my 100-1 ticket, please.
Now I want to hear your biased version of it.
He's the best. He's so good. Come on. I mean, look, Northern Arizona, everyone knows that's a team known for their bigs. Northern Arizona, if you put up 12 and 8 against them, oh, goodness. I mean, come on. You might as well be putting up 30 and 20 against Kansas. Please. Like, let's be real here.
Okay. I got you. I got you. I still
right,
stand
though,
by what I say
on
okay. Yeah. On a realistic point, I'm not saying he's not good, but I just want to see it because he's got a lot of tests coming up in the non-con. Them Indiana front court players, they have 4 bodies at least that they can rotate on him. So I just want to see it before we start crowning him All-American. Kentucky played tonight. You didn't think I was going to get out of here tonight without talking about the Cats. They started slow. It was a struggle. They're going to need at least one of the 7-footers back, whether it's Bradshaw, who's within a week or 2 now of being out or being available, which we thought he might not be there until mid-December. Now he's apparently only a week or 2 away, or trying to get Big Z eligible. But they needed one of the 7-footers at least back to help on the rebounding, because New Mexico State, even though Kentucky out-rebounded them, New Mexico State early just bullied their way on the glass. Kentucky struggled with that aspect, struggled defensively a little bit, but once second half settled in, this guard lineup, the guards from Kentucky, Reed Shepherd, Antonio Reeves, DJ Wagner, Rob Dillingham, and then even throw in Justin Edwards as like a guard wing hybrid. Once they figure this game out and get more comfortable with the pace of everything, I mean, that quartet of guards is lethal. Rob Dillingham, since putting 20 pounds of muscle on and weight, he's so much more confident getting into the lane and dishing to his teammates. Rob Dillingham has turned in. You go back and watch him in July at the Global Jam, he really struggled. But now that he's more physical, completely different ball player. And I think he's going to be huge this year. Look at the stats: 3 assists, 5 rebounds. Hit 17 points, though. 6 of 11 from the field, 17 points, led the way for the Cats tonight. DJ Wagner, 13, Antonio Reeves, 11, Justin Edwards, 12. They had 5 guys in double figures themselves, 4 freshmen, 1 experienced guy in Antonio Reeves. They go 9 of 29 from threes. Not the greatest percentage, but they got to shoot them with the spread floor that they're going to have. The one thing I will say about Kentucky and this offense here, this season, and Cal looks like he's going to run it. When he plays 5 out and we have Trey Mitchell at the 5, there's so many driving lanes for these elite guards to get to the rim. Once we start to figure things out, good luck guarding Kentucky on offense. Now, defensively, they might struggle guarding teams, but offensively, there's going to be a lot of nights Kentucky puts numbers up. So I think that's what I'm most happy with tonight, is that we did stick to the modern brand of basketball, and the guards got experience. And there's a lot I like from it, but defensively and cleaning up the backboard is going to be the 2 issues that, until at least we get one of the 7-footers back, that I'm going to keep an eye out on. That's it. If Kentucky loses next Tuesday to Kansas, it's going to be because they get out rebounded. And I think that's what's going to happen.
Look, before I lagged out, I was just going to say congrats on the 25-1 ticket. I'm rooting for you. That's the last thing I heard. Keep going on Kentucky.
100-1.
Last thing I heard was
he's winning
25.
National Player of the Year. I'm
So
telling
you had it at 100-1. That was the last thing I heard.
100-1, yeah, close
Keep
like
going on
25
Kentucky.
to 1.
I agree with you on the
propaganda. Anyone who wants to say anything about it, we can win these awards with propaganda. That's the thing. We can. That is how these awards work. We can win it with propaganda. So
we are members of the media, after all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, Josh, I agree with you on the big
Yeah.
point, by the way. I got to see Bradshaw last year at the John Wall Invitational with Phil, actually, accidentally, here in Raleigh. And look, when he's come back, the bigs are going to be fine. They're going to be able to handle teams that way, and it's going to create even more flexibility for their offense. That was the last thing I heard before I lagged out, so keep going.
No, that was the whole point. There's going to be a lot of spacing in this new modern offense Cal's running, and 4 elite guards playing at the same time, or at least a variation, 2 or 3, or even sometimes 3 of the 4 on the floor. You got multiple ball handlers that can really attack the rim, can dish, and they all can shoot. Reed Shepherd hit a couple shots tonight. So I think people are underestimating Kentucky, weirdly enough, because of the recent history. But I think this is going to be the best Kentucky team we've seen in many years, because there's elite guards potentially, and you've got versatile bigs who can really block shots and rebound and step out and hit threes. So I think Kentucky's in for a fun year this year, unbiased, of course. Start wrapping this thing up, landing the plane here. It is late. I know it's the late night show, but I'll go around table here. Your guys' thoughts, pick one game or one moment or anything that stood out to you from night 1 of college basketball. We'll start with you, DeRosa.
I was at the Butler game, but one thing I actually want to note, and granted, I haven't watched a second of this game. It's on right now, but how long, if Quez Glover and Naquan Tomlin are out for an extended period of time, who is going to take the pressure off of Tyler Perry? Because just looking at the box score right now, he's 2 of 11, but it just seems like all of USC's defensive attention's on him. And you have guys like Kobe Johnson, who is probably up there for the best defender in the Pac-12. You have Boogie Ellis, you have Isaiah Collier. Those are a lot of guards to go up against. And with no Quez Glover, no Naquan Tomlin, those are 2 guys who can handle the ball. So that's something that will worry me if those guys do not come back quick, which it looked like Tomlin's going to come back relatively quick, but they need those guys back immediately. Because
it's indefinite, right? Indefinite could mean
today. Thought I read something that Tang said. He's like, yeah, he might be back in the next 4 games. So we don't know the details, but I think that is something that I want to look at. And granted, I was lower on this Kansas State team than most. I had him 6th in the Big 12. So,
that's also better signs than anything, because the last thing we heard from Tang about it was we're treating it like a season-ending injury until we find out more. So honestly, the fact that it could be 4 games or less is a miracle. God sent.
Hey, most of us here are betting men. How much you want to bet the Quez Glover information all of a sudden changed the timeline of Tomlin's return?
100% it did. As soon as I heard the
Yeah.
Quest Glover news, I put a USD -3 ticket in. I did not wait a second. I heard that, and I'm like, that ticket's going in.
I'm not an attorney, so I'm going to agree with you.
Trev, night one standouts here. Anything that stands out from you? Anything final memories of night one here of college basketball?
How awesome would it have been if the 5'7" guy would have beaten Zach Edey in the tip? That would have been freaking awesome. That would have been night one memory of the day. They were hyping. Sanford was hyping up that, like doing a video every day of him jumping and like trying to get his vertical up, which was cool.
Boy, he was
did not win
feisty
the
too.
tip, spoiler.
If you watch any of that game, he was getting all in everybody's grill, man. Little bald-headed kid. He was feisty tonight.
I'll give you this, even though I didn't really watch a ton of this game. I was lower on Villanova than I think most every person that has a single ounce of a platform this year than anybody. And I'll be honest with you, I'm willing to mince some words there. I know they played American. I get that. But I think I'm going to go back and watch that game in full. Tyler Burton looked unbelievable from what little I did see. I'm excited to see more of Villanova. I'm trying to give you something that's not like boring here. Obviously, all the upsets were like stuff like obviously JMU we already talked about. Like Mercer lost to a really good HBCU school in Atlanta, Clark Atlanta. Mercer obviously going to be a bottom team in the SoCon. So again, trying to give you something that's more exciting. I'll give you this: the A10 looked like it was falling apart like the Pac-12 was for a few minutes there in the second half. A lot of those games, a lot of those A10 games got really tight. I know VCU lost a bye game to McNeese. There's my angle for you. I'll give you the A10 is once again just as bad as it was last year.
Interesting. Peyton,
Didn't
you got
watch a single
anything? I know
18
you
game,
hopped
by the
in. Peyton, you got anything?
Yeah, I got one real one and one fake one. So let me go ahead and hit the real one real quick. College basketball. It's not just men's. We also talk about the women's game as well. Colorado beats the shit out of the reigning defending national champions LSU Tigers, 92-78. Super team.
Yep.
What? This is what we was talking about coming into the year, that LSU just built a super team. In game one, they got the shit kicked out of them by Colorado. Angel Reese had a double-double, 15 and 12. Haley Van Leff had 14.7 assists. 4 turnovers.
Look up Colorado's stats. Did Coach Prime's daughter play in this one? Because I know she's playing for Colorado.
From as a daughter on Colorado?
I didn't know that as well. I don't see her.
She plays. Yeah. She plays, or at least that's the last I heard. Wild. Is that she plays?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't see anything about that on here. But yeah, LSU, the defending national champions, get the shit kicked out of them on night one. That's ridiculous, especially out of the team they got. That's my real one. The fake one, though. Josh, you talk about Kentucky. Who gives a shit about Kentucky? Let's talk about the Louisville Cardinals. 1-0, baby. We got one. I don't give a shit. I wasn't here. I wasn't here. Doesn't count. I'm here now. We're talking about it, baby. 94-93. We beat UMBC, a team that Virginia couldn't do in 2017, but that's no here nor there. We actually got them done. Maybe one of the worst games probably in Louisville history, but you know what? Who gives a shit? Mike James, 25 points, 10 rebounds. JJ Traynor had 13 points, 3 rebounds. That's all I want to talk about. It might be one of the ugliest games you'll probably watch all season, and definitely shouldn't be that damn close with the talent that we have on this roster. But you know what? I'll take it. We'll 1-0. I'm out of here. Y'all have a good time.
Well, my favorite part about his Louisville, his Louisville little run he's doing here is, as he literally actually left, is that he was wearing a Kansas shirt that entire time.
Oh, I know. He had the Kansas shirt on.
Celebratory, because he had to start celebrating Louisville. It's
Hey, you know what, though? Like we said, Louisville, at least for one night this season, gets to go to bed unbeaten. And I think mine real quick, the one thing, he took my LSU one, by the way. I was going to mention that, so I'll go with this real quick. I was very skeptical in Tennessee, and because I've seen it too many times. Can't shoot, can't score, play an elite defense. But the exhibition game when they beat Michigan State, which maybe doesn't look as good now, but I was like, well, we'll see how they do. And Tennessee Tech's not a powerhouse, by the way. Me and Peyton seen them in the OVC title game last year. Shout out John Pelfrey. They blew them out, which was expected. But how about Tennessee going 12 of 30 from 3, 40%? If Tennessee starts learning how to shoot three-pointers, game over. they will win the SEC with that elite defense and the talent they've got. Dalton next, 17 points. Josiah Jordan-James, 15. Vescovi only had 2. I don't know what happened there, but Jemai Mashak, 9. Jordan Gainey, 11. Zakai Ziegler played 13 minutes in his return, had 3 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. If Tennessee learns how to start shooting the ball with a guy like Dalton Neck and company, it's over with. Tennessee wins the SEC, and this is coming from a Kentucky fan because they will grind games out, and then you add shooting on top of it, it's a wrap. Tennessee wins the SEC. That's my big takeaway from night 1.
Did Ziegler play? Did you mention that?
Yeah, he did. He played 13 minutes.
Because I know his status was like questionable, up until yesterday or something, and then he tweeted 3 smiling emojis. So I was like, well, he's probably playing. I won't be able to watch the game, but I was like, he's probably playing. That's good news.
Yeah, Tennessee learns how to shoot. They're going to be absolutely dangerous this year. So they got Wisconsin. They got Wisconsin Friday.
Say goodbye. Yeah. That dude can play on defense on the SEC level. That dude can get buckets on anyone. Say goodbye.
Yeah, they got Wisconsin Friday, so it'll be a good test for their offense against another stingy defense. But we've been here long enough. This has been fun. Opening night of college basketball. We thought we'd bring back the ECB late at night. We will be doing these throughout the year. Various nights. We'll obviously give you guys heads up throughout the course of the year. Plenty of time to hop in. Looking to grow the YouTube channel finally this year. So, DeRosa, we appreciate the hell out of you. What work you got coming out? Tell everybody where they can find you at. What work you got coming out on your podcast, on the Road to the Garden, any of that real quick.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. Shit, I'll do it anytime. This is a ton of fun. I love talking college basketball.
We will definitely have you back on a lot.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Anytime. Oh, I'm ready. I love it. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter at MD The Dream. That's the name. That's the game. You know what I'm saying? Road to the Garden, I'm covering the Butler Bulldogs. You'll see a lot of Big East tweets out there. A lot of tweets about Georgetown, too. I grew up a Georgetown guy. Like, come on. That's the heart, man. I've been going to Georgetown games since I was 5. I got a picture of me with Roy. Remember Roy Hibbert? Roy Hibbert sitting in a chair.
Big Roy.
He's like, Big 7 foot, 2. And then you have me, standing next to him. I barely get up to his, shoulder at, age 4. Man, I love that. But, yeah. On Twitter, Ding and DeRosa is a podcast I'm starting with my guy, Chris. We've started it already, talking the whole college basketball world and Road to the Garden. We're going to get that show going soon. I'll be on that a lot more this year. Just everything in the world of college basketball, I'm trying to do as much as I can. Give me a follow. Give me some love. I'll try to show you some love back. And if I don't, that's on me. I'm not going to lie. I got no excuse for that. But I'm ready to have a fun season, man. Day 1. I woke up at 8, did a show. We're on a show now at 12. I'm going to try to write a recap of the Butler game right after this. I'm probably going to be up till 2. I slept 4 hours last night. I could not sleep. I knew college basketball was coming. It's going to be a long day, but shit, man. It's a great day, man. Oh, my God. One Shot a Moment was blasting in my ears all day. It still gets me. We're back, baby. We're back. Let's go.
And with that, I couldn't said it better myself. Go visit our new partners over at shotqualitybets.com. Incredible data information. Use the promo code ECB, get 10% off your first month. We're back, and this is only going to keep getting better from here. So for Trevor, for our friend Michael DeRosa, for Peyton, for Phil, who wasn't able to make it, and everybody involved with the ECB team, we thank you, appreciate you. Drop a subscribe if you aren't already to the YouTube channel, and we will catch you Thursday with episode 161, where we talk about all this shit again and look ahead. We got Arizona Duke on Friday. We got a lot coming up. But for the night 1 of college basketball, we say thank you, and we will catch you down the road.